Every time her parents came to pick her up from school, she felt deeply embarrassed. They always showed up in an old, beat-up pickup truck, and to make it worse, the music was blasting at full volume, shaking the whole parking lot like a karaoke truck. Her classmates would stare, whisper, and laugh. Flushed with shame, she would rush into the truck and turn down the volume, but her dad would turn it right back up. He wasn't trying to embarrass her, not at all. He and his wife were both born deaf. They couldn't hear the music at all. They just felt the rhythm through the vibrations of the speakers. Seeing everyone's curious eyes on them, the girl wished she could disappear. But that wasn't even the most embarrassing part of her life. Once, during a meeting, her father got angry and wanted to curse someone out, but since he couldn't speak, he asked Ruby to interpret for him.
Suck my dick.
She wanted the floor to open and swallow her whole. It didn't stop there. When her dad went to see a doctor for a private male health issue, Ruby had to go along and translate every word. He described everything in detail, completely forgetting his teenage daughter was standing beside him. Ruby finally interrupted, telling the doctor that he already understood the situation. The doctor then gently reminded her parents to pay more attention to personal hygiene. Ruby's parents and brother were all deaf. She was the only one born with hearing. To everyone else, it might have seemed like a blessing, but for Ruby, it was a burden, a heavy one. The family made their living by fishing. Every morning at 3 a.m., Ruby got up to help her parents on the boat. She wasn't there just for company. She was the only one who could use the radio. The only reason their boat was allowed to leave the dock. They couldn't fish without her. They couldn't sell the catch without her either. Ruby was the bridge that kept their whole world connected. At such a young age, she carried responsibilities no teenager should have to bear. By the time the boat came back, she was exhausted physically and mentally. She barely had time for breakfast before rushing to school. Life was hard and tiring, but Ruby never complained. Even when her classmates made fun of her, she stayed silent. She had already grown used to it. Deep down, though, she felt small. She had a crush on a boy named Miles, but she never had the courage to tell him. When the time came to choose elective classes, Ruby saw that Miles had joined the choir, so she secretly signed up too, hoping to spend more time with him, to test everyone's voice. The teacher asked each student to sing one line from Happy Birthday. One by one, they sang with confidence and skill. Ruby watched as everyone seemed more talented than her, and her nerves tightened. When it was finally her turn, she froze. Her chest felt tight. She couldn't even open her mouth. In the end, she ran out of the room to protect herself. Alone, she could finally breathe again, and quietly, she began to sing.
Happy birthday to you.
Her voice was soft, uncertain, but real. She truly loved to sing. It was only her insecurity that kept her from showing it. The next day, she found her teacher and apologized for walking out. The teacher didn't blame her. After learning more about Ruby's background, he told her the story of Bob Dylan, hoping to inspire her. He wanted Ruby to find her courage and express her own voice. His words lit a spark in her. He also began to take a special interest in this quiet girl. At the next choir class, the teacher suddenly called Ruby to sing in front of everyone, but under all those eyes, she still couldn't open up. So the teacher taught her some breathing and vocal exercises to relax. Still, Ruby couldn't fully let go. The teacher sighed and made the whole class join her.
I've been really trying, baby.
Yes!
Trying to hold back this feeling for so long.
Now we're talking.
Little by little, Ruby started to find her rhythm. The teacher noticed her unique tone and natural talent. He decided to let Ruby and Miles perform a duet at the fall concert. When they first practiced, it was awkward. Their timing didn't match. They lacked chemistry. So the teacher told them to spend more time together after class. That way, they could connect emotionally and sing more naturally. Ruby was thrilled. But soon, another problem appeared. One afternoon, when she biked to the dock, she found a fish buyer trying to underpay her brother Leo. Their fish were fresh, yet they were being offered less than others. Ruby argued, but Leo stopped her, saying she was making things worse. He felt humiliated and told her to leave. Despite all the tension, Ruby began to grow more confident in the choir. She started blending in with the group, finding her voice among theirs. After one rehearsal, the teacher asked Ruby and Miles to perform their duet again. This time, their singing improved, but something was missing. The teacher asked them to face each other and imagine singing to someone they loved. That time, the emotion finally came through. Their voices connected. Later, the teacher asked Miles to stay behind for a few notes, then let him go and kept Ruby in the room. He asked her what she wanted to do after graduation. Ruby shook her head. She had never really thought about it. The teacher suggested she apply to Berklee College of Music. For Ruby, that idea felt impossible. Her whole life was tied to her family. She didn't even know what Berklee was. She tried to use money as an excuse, but the teacher explained that Berklee offered scholarships. That's not the problem, he said. The only thing that matters is your love for music. Then he asked her, what does singing feel like to you? Ruby thought for a moment, then used sign language to answer. It feels like all the shame and fear I've held inside finally breaking free, like being unchained. The teacher smiled. smiled. He knew she had something special. That night, Ruby decided to take his advice. She told her mother she wanted to audition for Berkeley, but instead of being happy, her mother shook her head. Then she held Ruby's hand and said softly, "You loving music, it's like a blind person loving painting." The words hit Ruby hard. Her confidence shattered again. A few days later, Ruby brought Miles home to practice their duet. They started singing face to face, but it felt awkward, so they turned their backs to each other. As they sang, the distance between them closed. Everything seemed to be going well until another crisis hit. One day, Ruby's father brought her to a fisherman's meeting. The government wanted every boat to hire a monitor to prevent illegal fishing. It meant more expenses for small families like theirs. The fishermen were angry, especially after years of being underpaid by the dealers. Ruby translated her father's words as he stood up and spoke passionately. "We can't keep sacrificing like this. We'll sell our fish directly from now on." Everyone cheered, but when they got home, her mother was furious. They didn't have money for that kind of change. Selling directly would be complicated, especially since none of them could talk to customers. Her father then turned to Ruby again. Once more, she had to shoulder the family's burden. From fishing to selling, Ruby had to handle everything herself. She was drowning in responsibility, but she kept pushing through. She didn't give up on music either. Under her teacher's guidance, she improved quickly. Business got better too, but Ruby had no time to rest. One afternoon, she was so tired she fell asleep during practice. When she kept arriving late, the teacher finally lost patience.
"If you waste my time, I will not work with you."
Ruby promised it wouldn't happen again, but not long after, it did. Just as she was leaving for class, her mother stopped her. A TV crew was coming to interview their family, a perfect chance to promote their fish. Ruby said she had to go, but her mother insisted she stay to interpret. They argued, but Ruby gave in. During the interview, her phone kept buzzing. Her teacher wasn't going to forgive another absence. That day, Ruby failed both as an interpreter and as a student. The next morning, she went to see her teacher, hoping for one more chance, but he refused. Tears welled up in her eyes as she said, "For 17 years, I've never done anything just for myself." He stayed silent for a moment, then sighed. He finally understood. That night, Ruby told her parents she still wanted to audition for Berkeley, but they reminded her that the family business had just started growing. They needed her. "There will never be a good time," Ruby said, "but I can't stay with you forever." Her mother stayed quiet for a long time, then admitted softly, "I'm just scared. What if you fail?" Her father shook his head. "She's never been treated like a baby," he said. "She's always been our support." Her mother froze. For the first time, she realized how much Ruby had given up for them. That night, Miles texted Ruby and invited her out. For once, she didn't go out to sea with her family. She went with him instead, to a quiet lake where she often practiced singing. But while she was gone, trouble struck. That same day, the inspectors came to check her family's boat, without Ruby there to translate. Her father and brother couldn't communicate. The inspectors secretly called the Coast Guard. Moments later, their boat was boarded and fined. When Ruby got home, she found out her father's fishing license had been suspended. He blamed her for not telling him she wouldn't come. "You're really blaming me?" Ruby said. "This isn't my fault." But without her, the fine was set at $2,500. They couldn't afford it. Her father wanted to sell the boat to pay the penalty. Ruby refused. Instead, she said she would give up her dream of Berkeley and focus on helping the family. Her parents felt relieved, but her brother Leo stood up and stormed out. He hated himself for being powerless. That night, her mother came into Ruby's room with a new dress. She wanted Ruby to wear it for the fall concert. Then Ruby asked, "Mom, did you ever wish I were deaf too?" Her mother paused, then confessed a secret, one that would change Ruby's life forever. Want to know what happened next? Follow me, and I'll share the rest of Ruby's story soon.